reviewing all of the HDzero monitors, seeing which one's my favorite, which one might work best for you, and which one you probably want to stay away from. Stay tuned.
Oh my God. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Marty!
Okay, first, we're going to start in the order that I received them in. And this was the first one that I have. There's a link in the description for the full review of this. This is the SkyView HD by FrSky. Matter of fact, if you just Google that, my video should come up as the #1 review on that. I'm going to get into this one first and tell you the pros and cons. If you're really interested in this one, want to know more about it, there's much more long-form video on my channel below. This was the first screen that I've got. I'm going to read you the specs real quick. It says that lengthwise in millimeters, it is 144 by 83 by 22 millimeters. And it says that it weighs 187.9 grams without these antennas. It comes with these antennas from FrSky. They're not too bad, but they're not real good either. Let me tell you those measurements in freedom units. I'm showing 3.35 inches tall by 5.62 inches wide and 0.9 inches thick. There's a few things I'd like to say about this screen before I get too far into the video. One, this was sent to me by FrSky and it had some problems, and go back and watch my video. You can only update it on FrSky's site. It comes with this little bracket, so you can screw it into the tripod mount on the bottom and screw it into your radio. It is 720p, 60 frames per second. It says that the screen itself is 5.5 inches. It has a built-in DVR. Here's where you can hook it to your FrSky radio. I really think this is made more for airplane pilots that are flying HDzero. You have to go onto FrSky's website to download the firmware. At first, they wasn't updating it very much at all, but it seems like it's been updated in April of 2024. It's the latest update. You do not go on to HDzero's site to update this firmware. That will be done on FrSky's site. In my opinion, this one has always been much more buggy than any of the other ones as far as displaying the OSD correctly or at all. Sometimes the recordings are good and sometimes they're just not there. Let's look at it on the bench and I'll show you some more things about that. You can see that it comes with these antennas in the box, and one of the things is you've got two connectors here. These antennas screw off the top, so you've got 2 points of loss of signal on these antennas. I think that's why they do not perform as well as the others. Some people say as much as 2 dB of loss. This is true diversity. You do have two antennas. On the side here, you've got your barrel port. You can plug into. It's got an on and off switch on it. And the screen is not as good. I don't know if you're picking that up. The IR there was yellow. You have an XT30 input for if you want to use a battery input on it. And you also have HDMI out. That's something to remember. The buttons on this are wonky, in my opinion. Here they are. It has a strap so you can use a bigger battery. The center button is not the menu button. The top button is. So if we press and hold the top button, we can go in and play back some of the clips that we have. I just got some bench clips on here. I've not used this monitor in a long time, and the SD card that has no OSD, it plays back good. That's not a problem. You have your firmware upgrade port on this side. If we go back into the menu again Here we have your playback for your clips. You can set it to auto record. You can format the SD card, about, user manual, and exit. This one, it's okay. I was never able to trust it. It's just okay. I ended up using it pretty much just for a bench monitor for HDzero because I couldn't trust the recording. Did not have as good a range on it. I left it here on the bench more. It's not interswappable with your HDzero goggles. At least it's not with mine. Let me try the HDzero screen SD card. It actually says no SD card here. The formatting is definitely not the same. Something about the flash on it that's different than the other screens. My thoughts on the SkyView HDzero or SkyView HD. It serves a purpose, but for me, this is probably my least favorite because it all around is just less reliable than the others. I've not ever grown to trust it. It's got a lot of glare in the screen, if you can see that too, so it doesn't hold up well in comparison. Here's you can see my monitor in this one, and the HDzero screen just doesn't have anywhere near as much glare. Both of these have about the same glare on them. The pros of this one is it has diversity, it has HDMI out, and it has a DVR, but you can't trust the DVR. If you can't trust the DVR, is it any good? Cons on this one, you can't trust the DVR. The screen glares, it drains the battery pretty fast, doesn't have very good reception, and the firmware, you got to go onto FrSky's site to download it. It's just not there. Even when they fix it, it's just not there. Most of the time that I've had this, it never shows the OSD of my up-to-date whoops. So there's my thoughts on this. And move to the second one on my list, which is the Emax Teleporter 2 HD. Now, this one's my second favorite. I'm probably going to wait till the end. This may be something that some of you might be interested in. Let's look at their website and see what they have to say about it. For one, starting off, you can still get these. They are $239. But, and this is a big but, these are goggles. Just snaps right in, and it's a decent, or in my opinion, better than decent set of box goggles. It's got notches on the side here that as you pull this out, kind of push it in on the side. It goes out pretty far. But yeah, it's a box goggle just like all other box goggles that we know, with the exception it pops off. A big plus for these, and something that some of you guys may be interested in, is if you own these. These are the Emax analog teleporter goggles, and they are interchangeable. If you want to fly HDzero, pop the HDzero on. If you want to fly analog, pop the analog on. It does have a port for a tripod, for you to stand a tripod up on it. Let's look on the bench here. Here's the Teleporter 2 analog goggles. If you already have these, this could be a cheap way to get into HDzero and analog together. It does have the update port on it. It has an SD card, has a USB port, and a reset switch right here if you ever brick it with the firmware. The downside to these is the battery life. That's why you need the little USB-C. In my experience, flying, you may get about an hour of view time from these. You can see it power up here, Emax. And it'll search the signals. And it has a traditional menu button. Here's your menu button. That's more of, then after you get in your menus, this is your up and down. This is your power button, and that's okay. So let's go into the menu. It has playback, format SD card, record mode, auto. The format that you can pick, you either can pick TS or MOV. You can record the OSD on and off. You can set it to auto scan or not, and that's your menus. And it has the standard channels that HDzero has, R1 through 8, then F2, F4, and that's it. Comes with the 2 rubber ducky style SMA antennas, which if you were to use them regularly, I would recommend upgrading them. The biggest problem with this one is the battery life. It doesn't last long, so get you one of those battery packs on a USB-C, slip it into your pocket, and you can fly much longer. One of the downsides to these is there's no HDMI out. It's just a set of goggles with DVR. The pro to this set is that you can use these goggles for both analog and HDzero. I believe the files to update this are included in the HDzero pack. Now moving to the third and final one in this series, the latest one. This is a little HDzero monitor. It is still the cheapest of the three. Let's get into what HDzero says about their screen. You can purchase it from HDzero, or you can also find it at Flight Test. They have it. It's $174.99. Carl brought several of these to I.O., and my understanding sold out in a day. It boots up tons faster than the HDzero goggles. It's a 4.3-inch display, and the buttons are on the front. No pushing on the back, hunting for it like on the other ones. It does have an audio-video in port on the side. It is 2S to 6S on an XT30 compatible, but it also has a barrel port on the side that you can use also. It does have HDMI out, unlike the Emax. You can 3D print a sunshade for it and cover to go over the back. Several 3D prints that you can get online for it. I use the DC port, the barrel port, when I'm at home working at the bench with it. As you see, it boots up fast. One of the big selling points for this unit is the fact that it is seamlessly HDzero and analog. Let's look at it on the bench. As you can see, I have two of these. This one is the one that I throw in my pack. I take out with me. It has the battery on it. It has a TPU. I printed this. TPU cover for the case. I did rip my screen protector trying to put it on. This is the one I had at I.O. Plug the battery right in the side here, but as you can see, boots up fast. There we go. If there was someone flying on R8, you would already be seeing it. There is no menu button for playing back your files on your SD card. You do either have to plug it into the computer via USB-C or pop out your SD card. I talked to Carl at I.O., suggested that he put over here on one of these buttons a feature that you can hold the button down and it would scan. And he told me that that's something he would work on and should be coming pretty soon. Now, this is not diversity. One of these antennas works an analog, and the other one works the HDzeros. This is not for long range flying, so understand that. You've got your DC port or XT30, 2S to 5S, no 6S. Have your AV port in, and you have an on and off switch. You have a tripod port on the bottom, so you can hook it to a tripod. On this side, you have your SD card. You have USB-C for doing updates or getting your video off. If you're a Windows user, you can hook USB-C to it, and there is a software that you can go into the menu system, pull up your files, change your settings and things like that you can normally do on the other screens, but you can't do on this one. So that's something to think. That is one of the down perks on this one. And from my understanding, there will be no playback on this because there is no circuitry for it inside the board. Carl's trying to keep the cost down, and he's done so. One of the things about the analog on this screen is it has de-interlacing and upscaling of analog video, which makes it clearer. This is with no de-interlacing, and you can really see in between the top of the roof and the bottom there how much data you're losing, and you can see that there. This is with de-interlacing that HDzero has, so it will make your analog better. It has an 800 nit screen. It is brighter in the sunlight. The viewing area is 4.3 inches. As you see here, it automatically switches from HDzero to analog. If say you're watching someone race on R1 and R3, and R1 is HDzero and R3 is analog, you just push the button up to R3 and it switches. There's no having to change to another module. This is even better than the goggles, because if you're in the goggles, you've got to go out and you've got to tell it to use the module. Those of you race directors out there, this, in my opinion, be a very good way to get in your video. I know it's $175 each, and when you figure 4 of those, your price is more than the Event VRX. But think about it this way also, which the Event VRX is both analog and HD. But on the 4 channels, it has 2 antennas. On the 4 channels, you're going to have 4 antennas that are working. HDzero, or a total of 8 running all of them. And if one of these fails, it's $175. Where if you have a channel fail on your Event VRX, which I've not had any problems with mine, I was one of the earlier adopters of the Event VRX, and I've not had an issue with it. It's worked flawlessly. But if you ever did lose a channel, it's $75 to get you another one instead of $600. For a racer, in my opinion, this is a must. Even if you don't fly HDzero, $175 will get you everything that you need. 720p DVR for HDzero and analog. As you're flipping through, you hit record, you're flipping through the channels, it's going to record it like you're flipping through it. Okay, let me wrap this up. Some of you may be asking, which one is for me? Well, like everything in this hobby, that's a question that's subjective. If you want the cheapest entry into HDzero for a set of goggles that can be used analog and HDzero, both with DVR, then the Emax Teleporter 2 HDs are for you. If you're a long-range airplane pilot that's still flying FrSky and you've got the big FrSky radio, then maybe this one's for you. For most of you, this is going to be what will work the best for you. This is my favorite, hands down. One of the things that I tell people at races and people that come fly with me, you will know I like something or when I really like something. If I really like something, and I think this is something that has made FPV better for me, easier for me, more fun for me, more accessible to other people, I will always have at least 2. This one's the one I throw in my bag. Got stubbies on it, got the battery on the back of it. It's got an XT60 with a little XT30 adapter on it. On the bench, or hooking up as a 5th or a 6th. See, because I can hook both of these up to trackside along with the Event VRX, and now I've got 6 channels, race coordinator, that I can go between. 6 channels that are seamless between analog and HDzero. My opinions are, if you're new to the hobby and you want to get into analog and HDzero with a set of goggles or bench screens, then this is your cheapest route for goggles and a screen. If you already have either the VRX module on your Fat Sharks or your Sky Zones or your Orcas, or if you have the HDzero goggles, then this screen is for you. Or if you don't plan on flying HDzero, but you're a racer and you like to go to races, you like to look at other people's feed or even record other people's feed, this one's for you. HDzero knocked it out of the park with this one. Was there things that they could add to this to make it better? Some of the other reviewers are saying, well, it should have had this and it should have had that. If it would have had this and if it would have had that, we would be looking at a $200 something, maybe $250 screen, and this one puts at the ballpark where it's cheaper than the teleporters and it's cheaper than the FrSky. So this is the cheapest and the best, in my opinion, FPV or HDzero FPV screen on the market today. That's my recommendation. But remember, do you. I always tell people, do you. All 3 of these, in their ways, are good. This one, yeah, a little less than the others, but hey, it has its niche out there. My recommendation is the HDzero Monitor. Go out, get you one. You can get it today for $174.99. That you can use PayPal with 4 interest-free payments of $43. I guess that's a month. I don't know. I don't do it. Get it. This is the one for you. I've been a long time trying to get this made. Stay tuned to my channel because there's going to be more reviews coming up. I've got to get back into doing reviews. There's things that I want to review, things that I've got to review. So those are my thoughts. Remember, all of the opinions in this video are mine. FrSky, HDzero, or Emax did not have any hand in the outcome or my opinions on these products. If you've watched all the way to the end, then I want to thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, would you hit the like button for me and maybe subscribe? And if you really like this kind of content and want to be in on giveaways and be the first to see videos like this as they're released, then down in the comments below, you can join and become a member of my channel, which helps out the most. I want to thank you for watching, and remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, remember to rise up and meet me in the air.